You can't vote, well, we can't vote in a workshop anyway. It sounds pretty unanimous. Sounds pretty unanimous to me. I'm not gonna vote for being at the bottom. Thank you, Nancy. Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, good catch.
Yes. No, oh, for the other.
Said 75 gallons per person per day. So there's a average utilization.
I didn't see it all actually. What was that?
Look it on the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't. I'm not sure what the average
That
consumption
seems
would be.
high.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
I had no idea what it was.
I mean, I don't think we're very conscious at my house. I mean, it was just two of us. And I think we're going through maybe, if I do a lot of car washing and stuff outside and do a lot of stuff outside, but we're maybe at 3,000 gallons.
Yeah. I've got to have a water leak somewhere because like my water bill was like $320 some 2 months ago.
Yeah, you got a toilet leaking.
Was I got underneath my house last weekend. I had a crawl space and crawled all the way to the other end of the house. And there is water dripping, but I don't know if it's coming from around the hot water heater in the furnace. So I don't know if it's poorly draining AC condensation or if it's an actual water.
It's dripping constantly. It's water leak.
Yeah, it is dripping. It's dripping from several.
You got a water leak.
Okay.
You got a water leak. Yeah. I got a good one.
Yeah. Do you want to shoot me the name?
See
Yeah.
that little Ion Water app?
Yes.
It'll show that.
Good afternoon. This is the city council workshop meeting,
For 2 people.
voting is 6:30. We'll have a roll call. Mark Hickman.
Here.
Zach Jeffrey.
Here.
Jack Hall.
Here.
James Snyder.
Here.
Larry Hill.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. And we just had finished with our water board meeting, and I believe Cal spoke with us about our sewer system, and we've had that finished up. But the first item on the agenda is regarding the plumbing and the HVAC, and I believe that's going to be our police chief, Doug Hunter.
Guys, I know y'all heard the plumbing issues before, and we spent a lot of money on it last year. It continues. The building flooded again today during court. It was backed up on the PD side, on these bathrooms in here through the floor drain in the clerk's office. It saturated the carpet everywhere it got close to it, down the hallway in the PD, in the back by the BAC room, everything else. Had to call the plumber out here twice in the last 30 days because of blockages. Today, he found where somebody had flushed small pieces of metal pipe, like dope pipes, while we were in court. We arrested 4 people during court today on judge's orders. One of them was for dope in court that he brought with him. Nevertheless, we're still having issues. Sanders Plumbing, the first time I called them because of the blockage, because we have no baseline on what this plumbing looks like on this side of the building. When Faulkner Plumbing did all this work over here, they did a video on that side and the work that they did. We know what's there. They showed me the video. in front of the holding cell back in the control room, there's a section about 12 to 14 inches long that the sidewall is busted out of the pipe. Wasn't that way when it was installed. Don't know which plumber did it, but at some point, that sidewall was busted out of that pipe back there that is causing tremendous issues. The only fix for that is, again, to bust the floor out back there and have that replaced. Sanders, it has been the most responsive, honestly, for the last few times that we've tried to get a plumber out here. They have given me an estimate. It's just under $6,000 to have that done. It's $5,800 is what it is actually. Do we need to go out on bid on this? Can I have them start getting lined out to do the work? How do y'all want me to proceed with this? So we don't keep incurring these monthly fees for this.
It's under the 20,000 threshold.
Right.
Yeah, it seems,
And if we've already used this company and they've done us right and they provide us with documentation,
They've provided me with documentation, and the plumber that's been coming out from Sanders actually wholeheartedly agreed with me for us to get a baseline of the system so we know what we have
Right.
moving forward.
I was gonna say, Chief, I know that plumber company doesn't have a crystal ball,
Mhm.
but is that the issue as it stands right now, in their best opinion?
There was something else that came up, but until they get the floor out, we won't 100% know. The plans for this building show that those lines were from the BHC room and the bathroom in the back were supposed to run out into the PD hallway and wind in out there to go outside.
Like a main trunk to go.
Yes. His meter, when they did the reading on it, as he was cameraing the system, showed a different path, which doesn't look like it's flowing the direction it should be. If those pipes are where his meter says they are, they're plumbed in the wrong direction. So there may be another issue, but until they get that section of concrete out and look at how those fittings are put in, I won't know.
Is that in the same area though, that once
It's-
they have
it's
that chipped
exact
out, it
same
can be
area.
a quick cheap change order just to fix what's there?
It should be nominal at that point.
Yeah.
I'm never satisfied with the one bid. Is that the only bid that we have on that job?
Unless I start calling in other plumbers to come, that's only be a yes, right?
I'd like to have at least two bids. I'd like to see two bids. I've seen too many times when just one shot just does you in. Can we do that?
I can do whatever you tell me to do. It's just gonna delay the process if we're in danger of flooding again in this building. And I don't know what we're gonna do about the carpet in this area, especially in the clerk's office. It did not clean up well. This is the fourth or fifth time that it's flooded in there. And we've steam cleaned it and everything else, and I'm afraid of mold coming up in there.
Whoever fixed it last time, if it was not, must not have been done properly, if it's
There
repeated.
wasn't a fix on this. This has
Okay.
never been fixed.
Okay.
This has just been clogs that were unstopped.
I'd like to see two bids on it. If you have to put a, closed for business sign or out of order for a day or two,
Okay.
do that.
Everybody else want to?
yeah. Another bid wouldn't hurt.
yeah, another bid wouldn't hurt. If we didn't get it, I wouldn't to me, since given the dollar amount and it's a company that we've worked with and they've demonstrated they've done us right, I wouldn't be upset if we didn't get a second bid. If we got a second bid, I'd be more than happy to look at it.
Chief,
So
did they say-
I'm ambivalent on it.
Did they say anything about their timeline and when they would be able to do it if we did approve that?
If I tell them that we're going to do it, they will schedule it and get it on the books in the next 2 weeks. That's the quickest they can get to it.
Looking at the scope of work that it sounds like they've got to do, tear out the floor, fix the pipe, put the floor back, concrete and all that for 6,000. I don't think it sounds off base. If y'all want another quote, that's fine. I'm okay with it, but it doesn't sound like it's off base or astronomical. And the thing is, I know you just got here not long ago, but this sewer system ever since it's been put in here. This probably won't be the last time that we're fixing something. I mean, I just,
Thankfully, now we have video to go off of, and we know what is under the slab.
yeah.
So,
And will they provide us the same when they work over here as well?
I'm sorry.
Will they provide us more video documentation when they work over here?
Probably if we ask them, but to have this repaired and then inspected before it's concreted over will be something that we haven't had. I think Raymond looked at it before when Faulkner did this up here last year, year before. But that was both bathrooms in the hallway, and that was a substantial amount of work and a great deal more money than what we're talking about.
20 times.
At least, yes, sir.
Do you, and you may not know, do you think that that pipe failed or that it was damaged and left that way?
I feel like it was damaged. That Schedule 40, to have the sidewall busted out of it the way it is, for it to be visible on video the way that it is, it's not a small crack. It's a section of pipe that is gone.
But again, we're not
It
talking
hadn't
about
been-
got damaged last week, got
No.
damaged prior to slab placement.
I'm gonna say after slab placement, because this has never been an issue before on that side of the building.
Would it get damaged by things going through it?
I think it's damaged by one of the other subcontractors that was here trying to fix some of the problems at some point. But I had no baseline to go off of, so I don't know who to consider blaming.
And maybe I'm not picturing this right in my head, I don't know. They weren't even in that area, I wonder how that sidewalk would, unless they put pressure on or something. I don't know.
There's been so much work about
Raymond, do you have any insight on this as a plumbing
Well,
expert?
I know I've done some inspections on this, but the first initial inspection I done was on the bathrooms when they brought that section in right there. And then I remember doing an inspection on the service line from the building out to the connection of the collection system. I think Doc had done some of the other roughing inspection on this building. I don't know what portion of that, maybe Chris Miller had done some, but all I can remember was this part of the building where the bathrooms were at and the service line going out to the collection system.
But I think Raymond and I both agree that that was not that way when the building was put up.
Sure, it wasn't. It was,
It's happened.
it would have caused this way before now. You know, this happening after this been repaired, this started happening, something, I think whoever was here to unclog that, like the chief said, had damaged that side of the pipe. You know, might have been the person, that might have been inexperienced with that, rotary machine and damaged that side of that pipe. If that's much as exposure to that pipe and we prolong it, and then we have another court meeting right here with another high flow, it's gonna increase more of that gravel that's outside of that pipe to get into the system and then cause damage to the pump station.
Is there, this gotta be, go ahead.
Ladies, I'm trying to hear it, it's really.
Is there any liability, or is there any way to prove liability from the prior subcontractor?
No, because we have no baseline. If we had a definitive inspection report, if we had video prior to all this taking place, I would have something to go off of. We've had so many contractors and subcontractors at different points.
That's a question I've got, we keep using seven different contractors. Would it not be worthy of trying to use the same contractor over and over and over, as long as it's in reason, so that we can kind of, somebody be accountable?
That's what I'm trying to do with Sanders, honestly. Tony and them are great, Faulkner Farman, but if they're not available, they call somebody that's available. And he does big commercial jobs like colleges, UCA, Hendrix. He's tied up on some big commercial stuff. He doesn't always have time to come get to us, and he calls somebody else.
And he's local. I mean,
If
I was like doing things with local vendors.
I'm not trying to bogey your phone with the emergence of the problem. $6,000, which isn't no money, don't get me wrong. I just don't see any other bids coming in, even if they're cheaper, substantially cheaper than the $6,000, they're cheaper at all.
Yeah. If you can't get to it for 2 weeks, what do we got to lose to ask someone? That's the point.
If we can get some out in 2 weeks, I'm with that.
Someone comes in and says we can do it for
That's
4,000,
why
and they
I
do
made a
it
decision
before
how
he's
to
even.
put on the books to do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But if I schedule it with them and we've got it on the books and then we get another one, then I've got to cancel it and wait another month or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and that's not fair to his business.
Can we even vote in a meeting? Have we,
Nope,
in a workshop?
Well,
we'd have to go into a special
y'all make
session.
a decision. We can vote on it in the council meeting.
Sure.
If you'll choose to do that. But I need to go ahead or stand by.
We can come to a consensus whether on which way we want to go. We don't, we'd have to,
We can formalize it with a.
The work won't be done,
Yeah.
the money won't be spent till after the council meeting, so there would be a formality there that y'all would have the ability to do.
but we could at least get you moving to get some things on the books. I personally don't have a problem with going with Sanders. They've worked with us before and they've done us right. And you guys know more about the cost of concrete than I do. So if you think that quote is in line and reasonable, then let's get it fixed, because we're going to pay a lot more for remediation of this building from water damage than $6,000 if we don't get this fixed. We're going to be into tens of thousands.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Water's great, but boy, it sure destroys. Ask the Grand Canyon.
I'm fine.
The water in and of itself isn't the problem, it's the additives.
Okay, so the consensus is to let Chief Hunter go ahead.
I believe so. Anyone else?
Okay, thank you.
Next item we have on the agenda is the A and P tax.
So I went through ordinance 2009, which was passed in 2020, that basically provide us, the city with the ability to collect an A&D tax on lodging, short-term rentals, anything under 30 days in the city of Mayflower. Couple of things with the direction we want to go in this. If we want to add food, I guess that would be a whole other ordinance to add that percentage of food. But then the bigger picture of this is, before we can collect anything, and I am not a lawyer, I don't speak legalese, but the way that I read this is not collected through DFA. This is collected by a committee, a very specific committee that this council appoints, that then does the legwork of providing A&P permits for people to conduct business. And then the businesses, just like they would send their tax collected to the Arkansas revenue, for the different sales taxes, like we get turned back the state sales tax, the county sales tax, the city sales tax. Instead of going to them, that 2% tax would then be given directly to that committee, who has full autonomy on how that money's spent, how it's collected, everything. It's out of this council's hands, other than we select the committee.
Yikes.
And that's the way it has to be done, in fact, for an A&P tax.
Really?
Yes. Now, that being said, that committee it's very specific in the law of the way this committee's made up. It has to be made up of 4 people from the industry, either hotels, short-term rental owners or managers, restaurant owners, it has to be 4 of those, 2 council members and 1 citizen that's at large. So the first step would be, yeah, we could go ahead and take a vote to add food, prepared food to this tax, but we're a good piece out from even implementing the tax until we get a committee in place with rules and procedures. They're outlined in here, but with rules and procedures and how to actually collect and go through the process of providing permits, doing the applications, so all that, and then having the process of actually auditing and collecting money from the different industries.
What's aside from having 2 elected people on this committee,
Please, am I wrong on anything I said?
Yeah, I brought a little worksheet, I'll go over it. I didn't know if I was gonna be on the spot or not, so have these, I'll send it down. Generally correct on everything. There's just, this is all subject to a public election also. An A and B tax, I've had conversations with people for several years about A and B tax for Mayflower. Even before, when I was only in the prosecutor role, before I came on as city attorney for the municipal side, that was in 21, with a council member that's not even here. But it's always been talked about, but I always kind of sort of hedge that against the idea that it's just like planting a money tree in the back. I mean, it's a limited source of revenue for very specific purposes. You can raise up to 3% of receipts from hotel and motel, and also for prepared foods. So I don't know how much revenue that would be. I think for the food, we could go to some places to try to figure out what that might look like, looking at DFA revenues. But just the reality is you have to think about the restaurant activity that you have. I think less than 10 restaurants in town that would do prepared foods. I don't know hotel, motels come to mind, some campground activities, some bed and breakfast and things like that. Definitely no change in everything. It has to be established by a special or general election. So the earliest you could do anything would be November. We can only have special elections twice a year in May and November. Working with on another altogether question, I found out about whether or not there would even be an election held in November. And I was told only if one of the school districts are planning on using that day. So we could have one, but you have to pay all the cost of having an election in November. So the more efficient way would be to wait until May, until there will be another election day, and you can piggyback and use the clerks, poll workers, things like that to have that. But then the meat of this is that you do have a 7-person commission. You have to have, just like Zach said, there's four of those are people in the industry, hotel owners or restaurant owners or managers, 2 members on the city council that you just pick from yourselves, and 1 member of the public at large. They all serve 4 years. And it would be similar makeup as the planning commission is a good thing to start with, and think about the challenges you have of getting people to sit on that and come regularly. This may be the same type of situation, it may not be. But more importantly than that, you have to have a commissioner. You have to have somebody that's in charge of being tasked with this, either a whole new employee or somebody that gets added to their job description is to be the commissioner of doing this, making sure businesses are paying what they're supposed to be paying, collecting them, and what do we do when they're not collecting and everything. So then you have some comprehensive ordinances as to what level of collection efforts that you do, and what is the penalty schedule for delinquent taxes, what do we do if they're mega delinquent, things like that. At the end of it, the revenue that you do collect, there's only certain categories of things you can use it for. And I'll start with things you cannot use it for, which is general operation of the city. Money does not ever go into the general revenue fund. It doesn't go to capital improvements in the city, or it specifically says it can't be used to subsidize any. Basically, they're talking about chambers of commerce, or if there's board of tourism or anything like that, you can't use it to subsidize some kind of civic group like that. It has to be used only for advertising. We want people to come to Mayflower. So you could use it for a billboard on the interstate, magazine ads, television ads, things like that. You could set up a special fund for, say, building park improvements, things of that nature, but it has to be tourism related. It has to be, some cities use it to fund a convention center, which I don't think we're anywhere close to there yet, but parks and recreation are fair game. You could have a visitor, some type of visitor center things like that. But the headline there is, it's not just a source of revenue. Seems to be this topic always kind of comes up when we are looking for other revenue sources. So I was kind of cautioned against this is just not that.
Advertising promotion.
It's not that golden money tree in the backyard. It's certain income for certain purposes. The back 3 pages are just right off of the website of the City of Sherwood. And this will give you an idea of kind of how this is like distributed to the businesses that would be used for their homework as to how to calculate what their tax is. And you can see it takes some doing. You know, if you're a business owner, this is expected to be filled out every month. It says what is owed to them and how they calculate it and how they turn it in. It's a monthly schedule of when they're supposed to be paying it. They do have some convenient ways to pay it, but on each side of that, you have to have an administrator of how the money is coming in and who's on top of all that. And then on the business side of it, this is a new requirement that they've gone forever without having to do, and then all of a sudden they would have to do it. I can see some tensions, some pushback on that.
This is what came up the last time. This was before I was on council. So I've got a question and a point. One, the council then voted in ordinance 2009 for lodging. Are you telling me that they couldn't collect that tax without a special election anyway?
I had to dig deeper in that. I did not, I looked at it, I didn't realize we had it.
I think Hope wrote it, but okay.
I would tell
There's a copy here if you want it, but
Okay.
it's,
And do we have lodging?
well, just bed and breakfast type.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have quite a few Verbos and Airbnbs, and we have quite a few more coming in.
But to the second point of the point, that was the question, is I didn't realize we had to have elections. I didn't read that in our ordinance anywhere, but that,
My understanding, just looking at it surface level, is that we do, but something that I'll just
Sure.
deeper look at it and see.
the other point was, we said we could guess at what revenue that would do, and while this is still kind of a guess, I actually have pulled up what Dale sends us the sales tax revenues by category
Industry.
and by industry, and just taking restaurants, I don't think that's necessarily counting the hot food that's sold at Harps and things like that, but restaurants, based on the 2.5% tax that's already levied by the city currently, the 1% street sale and the 1.5 general city sales tax, the 2.5% on restaurants in 2024 brought in $11,667 of revenue. If you kick that up to 3%, it would be roughly $14,000 of revenue from restaurants. I don't know that we're going to be able to pay an administrator and get this committee running and make it worthwhile with $14,000.
Oh, no, it would have to be a volunteer.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Like, is it really worth all this undue? The future, I understand.
But here's the deal. If you own a business, and this is what this is all about. You got every big city around us that I'm aware of has it. You've got it. And what is the reason for that? Is because they bring in, your restaurants and your, Airbnbs or your hotels or whatever. The more you can get people coming here to spend their money into Mayflower, the more the city benefits, the more revenue you get because they've gone to the grocery store and, bought, done their thing. And it's really, it's a benefit for the long term is a benefit for our people that own restaurants and businesses in town. That's the whole purpose of it.
Mhm.
So I don't see where you would go wrong in that. And yeah, you're not gonna, in a town our size, you're really not gonna have anything other than volunteer anyway, because you're gonna have chamber and all that stuff, with the chambers constantly working very hard to try to get things built up. Why wouldn't we assist them in this process?
What does a billboard cost every month?
Do it.
What does a billboard cost every month?
A billboard?
Yeah, how much does a billboard cost every month?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna get a billboard out of this? I mean, I don't think we're gonna get much out of
I'm not
this.
trying to just move.
Right now, I don't think we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, $14,000 is $14,000 that could be spent on parks and the senior center, the community center and things like that. And
A ball.
even if it's a wash, that's $14,000 that wouldn't have to come out of general to be spent on the maintenance and running of those things.
Well, we're also talking about, you know, what we've got now, like it's gonna be that way for the next 10
Oh,
years.
sure, if you get a restaurant in, we don't,
No, I understand. I'm just,
On the hotel,
it just seems like I mean, it's great we're talking about it right now, but we're not gonna be able to do anything about this right now anyway without there being an election going on. So I think we're kind of just wasting a lot of effort at this point. I mean, I think we should continue to, you know, think about it, but
I think we give Dustin some time to research that and move on from this point tonight, because I don't think there's a whole lot more to discuss tonight on it, but.
Is that the statute I hold is 2675-602. It says, if the governing body enacts an ordinance levying or increasing a tax under this section, the governing body shall submit the question of the levy to the electors under the earliest date permitted for a special election.
So we can make the ordinance, but then it has to go to the voters before it can actually be levied. That's,
if the, just thinking, if we did this like on lodging and not food, if it was on lodging, that would primarily, you know, the business owners may increase costs of the lodging. That's primarily going to impact not our residents. It's going to impact travelers, right?
none of it's, the whole intent of this law is not to collect money from outsiders, essentially.
Right. It's not going to tax the Mayflower residents. It's going to tax the people coming here to spend money.
And
So I think that's an important delineation to
the
make,
prior council took food off of that and made it specifically lodging.
so that it
Well,
taxes
taken
travelers.
off. It was taken off because
There was some blowback.
there was some blowback because people didn't understand, hey, this is gonna build my business.
Mhm.
I mean, you go to Branson, Conway, Little Rock, North Rock, you go to everybody and there's a, if I go eat at a restaurant in Little Rock tomorrow night, there's a tax on there, A&P tax that a certain amount's gonna go. And then that provides the funds to bring more people into that town.
And advertise their businesses
What's
for
I would a
free,
whole lot
So
rather
Conway's
do that
got one part.
and keep it off the backs of our own citizens.
100%.
Because, you know, you look at the lake, you know, I know there's a lot of back and forth on Lake Conway, but you look at a couple of years when everybody's, you know, the game fish had made the statement, one of the meetings they had, said, you know, they intend for people to come here from all over to go fishing at this lake. Well,
Mhm.
they're gonna have a place to stay, they're gonna go eat.
Shopping,
Well,
laundry, all that.
That would provide just, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Mhm.
That's gonna provide, and I feel like it's a conversation, I agree with you, there's nothing we can do, don't need to discuss it forever tonight, but at the same time, we really need to put it on the table and say, okay, is this something we want to benefit from, or say no and go on about our business?
Yeah, I agree. I personally think it'd be good, and it provide. I mean, granted, 14 grand, not a huge sum of money. We're not gonna, buy a Super Bowl ad with that. But
Well, it's 14 today, but you get a good restaurant come in there, the BB 14.
grow, yeah, absolutely, and it'll just continue to grow. So, since it's not going to be a burden on our citizens, but it's going to benefit them because they'll benefit from the revenue. So, yeah, I agree.
I think we kick it for tonight. What dig into tonight on.
Okay. The next item is the May financial review. You have any questions about that? Okay, the next thing we have is zoning for recently annexed residential areas, and I believe that's our code enforcement officer, Chris Matthews.
So I'm not proposing any definitive action to that. I don't have a proposal. I'm just kind of gauging feedback. I know we preliminarily talked about like Lucky and Billy Drive and bringing that into R1. I want to work that through planning and build some maps to bring back to y'all. But I wanted to gauge your feedback before we kind of dive too deep into that with the planning commission and see if there's any hard areas you wanted to be away from, something the council would like to see zoned a certain way in that area. Because if we're gonna do it, I'd like to do it all at one time and just kind of put that area in bed for a while. So basically, it's a question to the council, individually or collectively, how do y'all want to proceed with that? Because from the code enforcement side, there's not much I can do with zone agricultural right now. Because codes only allow enforcement of residential and commercial.
It's my opinion, like I think we discussed in the last meeting, that we do need to go, not necessarily parcel by parcel, but pretty close to it, because there are different uses for different areas over there that we just blanket zoned it, it's not gonna be fair to the property owners in those areas. But that we can tell you it's not that big an area that we can't take it piece by piece and zone that appropriately, that way we could have some enforcement.
And if we do zone it to where, you know, homeowners out of compliance, they're grandfathered in too. So they wouldn't, if the zoning changed from agriculture to R1, we wouldn't be going to tell any homeowner, you gotta change in order to be compliant with the new zoning. Now, they go and sell that land, that's totally different. It'll be in R1 at that point for the new owner. But as far as they're concerned, it won't really impact them unless they were to have, say, a disaster and they didn't start rebuilding for more than 2 years. At that point, they lose their grandfather status and they move into R1. So just your basic homeowner, business owner, they're not going to see an impact. It'll be from the time we make the zoning change forward. Anyone new who comes in, or if there's a disaster and no rebuilding has happened for 2 years, then that will revert over to R1. No one will get told to change anything as a result.
No, but they're one-off problems, which is why I say take it piece by piece.
Yeah,
But I'm just thinking in my mind, somebody that's got a pasture, say right there behind the church.
Yeah.
You know, kind of in that area. And they wanted to rent a barn out there. Well, on agriculture, you know, it'd be different than if you built that barn residentially, it would be, am I wrong on that, Chris?
You're right. So,
So I want to keep that agriculture for the people that own that, because it's cut as a hay field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have to keep their grass cut below 4 inches or whatever, because they need the hay to get tall, so they can cut it.
yeah.
so I guess the larger issue, we want to tackle the streets that are soon to be residential that fit our definition of R1. Go ahead and zone those the way they're being used as they sit today.
So James brings something up that got me, so I guess so they wouldn't have to be in compliance with the residential codes now?
Correct.
The way our property maintenance codes are written, specifically says residential or commercial properties, or lots, excuse me. And so, agricultural kind of outside.
No, I'm saying, we're saying those houses.
grandfather.
Village Drive, if we do them now, and the person that lives there doesn't cut their grass or has junk out in the yard and says, well, I'm grandfathered in, that.
So that goes with the land use, not the property lands.
Gotcha. Yeah, we need to do it piece by piece, is the way I would propose it.
How do you see a path forward here? Do we want to just get them out and start?
Get some different
Yes.
color highlighters.
Yep.
We've also got, the builder going in a new bypass too, and start forward thinking how that's gonna work as well. And the longer we just kind of leave it on the table, we'll move forward some of the.
And I don't see a need for us to sit down with a map and with different highlighters and hash it out, but definitely a proposal of that, because some of it's gonna make sense.
I think a workshop would be a great,
A workshop's definitely in line
Yeah.
for that, but.
yeah. I think it'd be great,
Again,
then we can all get there and see it.
planning first. That's, I mean, read the council proposal that we then go over.
And that's my intent.
That's the way I would see it working out.
Y'all want
And we don't just blanket, yeah, looks good. I mean, we kind of go through it and talk about each parcel, maybe pictures, live pictures of what those parcels are and where it makes sense, but let's make it make sense. There's no point digging in too far, but I think go through planning, make a proposal to the council that we could then go over and get behind and.
trying to gauge the temperature of the room, see where y'all are at.
We trust you and what you're doing and your recommendation you make to the planning commission, we'll consider it thoroughly.
So once we decide what we want to do, the planning commission will review that, vote, and then bring the approved proposal then to the council for then their vote and any kind of modifications that need to happen or whatever.
If I'm,
Workshop.
Yeah.
if I'm hearing everything correctly, go to the planning commission first, and then let the council have a workshop meeting and understand which streets we're talking about, and then it would come to the city council by ordinance then for this.
Yeah, we really want to have the planning commission kind of do the legwork for the council and ask all those questions. So that basically when it gets to the council, they know that a lot of that stuff's already been done.
Yeah, I
mean,
think if you go through those layers, if the planning commission basically creates the proposal,
Right.
creates the council workshops it, digs through it, then we'd be ready for a vote on an ordinance that would codify.
Yeah.
The next thing we have is the RFP. I believe that would be Zach Jeffrey.
Yeah, no news on the, well, not no news, I actually reached out to the company that I was on a call with about a month ago, get some more specific information about our situation. And she emailed me back very promptly and said that they look for it any time. It's coming quickly. They had some things come up. And they're a smaller firm, but they're working on it. They're getting it. They should have us a proposal soon, very soon. It's actually the language she used. So at least one proposal to consider.
Okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is Antonio Jameson, his request to lease, long-term lease for the Senior Community Center. I think we have representatives with Antonio and then from the Senior Center also.
How y'all doing?
Great.
I'm Antonio Jameson, and this is my co-worker, Miss Sylvia Garvey. We met each other in 2014 when we worked on a $35.7 million research grant through the University of Arkansas Fayetteville to help kids with disability. We tried to get about 20 kids in the program from Mayflower. We was only able to get 2. It had to go through a system called Mathematica, and it just kicked them back out there. We just had 2. So she had a security clearance, so we've been kind of knowing the data around Mayflower. The program ended in 2019, and the James Alexander Success Center with me and Miss Sylvia started in 2017. And so we always had a passion about coming to Mayflower to start something. We really wanted to focus on transition kids with disability after they graduate out of high school. But the opportunity and a lot of hard work, we started the after school program 3 years ago under the ESSA funding. And we've been located inside the storm shelter for the last 3 years. And now we don't have a home, and we just asking, and it's a 5-year funding. It's a sub grant, you know, so what we spend out, we put in, and we feel like we've been impactful. We would like to welcome everybody to come and volunteer with us. Our kids, you know, myself, my background is I used to be a law enforcement liaison for the city of Memphis before I moved to Mayflower. I've been in Mayflower for 20 years. And also before University of Arkansas, I worked as a special education teacher. And my friend, she worked at the women's shelter in Conway, and now the Bellingham House. And so we managed to get off work and come to Mayflower to help the kids with reading and writing, Spanish, coding. We have 11 new authors we meet here on some days, and 11 new authors gonna be here from Mayflower on August 9th. So we know it might be a touchy situation about the building. Like I say, our grant that we have is appropriated through Congress, so we are in partnership with the Arkansas Department of Ed on a state and federal level, just not here in Mayflower, which we gonna continue trying to be a partnership, for we can help kids with disability and help them learn how to read. So we are here, and we do feel like we've been quiet. We do feel like our program, it seems like it's the only 501c3 nonprofit in Mayflower that gets charged. We know the Boy Scouts don't get charged. AR Reads that we love, they at the library right now, all summer. And right now, our kids at home calling every day, wondering why we can't have our summer camp. So we just don't have place right now. So we asking the city to partner with us. And like I say, we have advisors, and we are also a licensed facility. And so all our people, our FBI background check, child maltreatment check, we in partnership, we got an award last year from the Arkansas Department of Health. The program, we work around 10 different counties, 7 kids with disability to learn how to read, and just a unique experience.
We have random visitation from DHS because we're a licensed child care facility as well. Basically, we're just trying to work with the kids with academics and social emotional needs. We did last year, the last 2 years actually. We've done a summer program with the kids. We can't do that this year. That's very saddening. And they need that because they need that to keep up with their academics. And we do make a difference with that because that's one of the pushes that we do. We actually have teachers from your own school system that comes in and teaches the kids, as well as Hotel Martial Arts. I come from Little Rock. I mean, they're busy, but it's fun. It's educational, but it's fun. One of the places to do it.
I was looking. I was looking at it, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because I stopped by and talked to you one day.
Yes, sir.
Then I believe according to your request, I'm trying to see how this can work out.
Okay.
You're asking for the facility from 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. 2 days a week.
Actually, the program with the kids is, for the kids, is 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay,
It's
hang on just a
yes,
second.
sir.
I need something I think the city needs something in writing. Because I believe that you sent that to me. Did you not send that to the fire marshal about what time you needed? 2:30.
Ms. Barber, yeah, well, then I ended up writing, Mr. Zach. So at 2:30, between 2:30 and 3, is a Bless Their Heart Bridge to Success drive from Little Rock, Arkansas to come and feed our kids. Cause that's through USDA, they come and feed the kids, so we meet the kids. We meet them from 2:30 to 3. So I don't have to go into the building, but it would be nice if we could just go put the food up for it to be still hot for the kids. That's why I said 2:30.
Here's what I'm asking. I'm not trying to cut you off. I believe in what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
I believe in you, and I appreciate you, and I want it here. But when I look at the number, what you said, which was 2:30 to 7, okay? And then we got recovery. They come in on Wednesdays. The church has it Sunday and Thursday. The seniors have it Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and they do it from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. This leaves Monday. In other words, what I'm trying to figure out is how, if that we've got other people that, from the way I'm seeing it, we've got other people that rent the building as well, okay?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And the two concerns I've got is your 2:30 time is overlapping with other people.
We don't have to come in the building at 2:30, but I will be on the premises because
Let me finish, okay?
Yeah.
Your statement is at 2:30, okay?
We would love it.
So if we come in, and that won't work with everything else that's going on, because if another person has it and say, well, we want it from 2:30, well, they don't leave till 3, well, then that's 30 minutes, and then you gotta have a transition time of them getting out, another one coming in, and then, you know, then when we do it, then it was well, no, we just need in, well, they may not be available. That's my concern. The other concern is,
May I address that?
yes,
Because what we've been doing is going in there anywhere between 15 minutes to 5 minutes, and I'm capable of setting this up and getting it going. 2:30 would be fantastic.
here's what I'm asking. If I go to the fire marshal and say, sir, I need this building. I go to Ms. Barber and I say, I need this building. When do you need it? I need it at 3 o'clock. Okay, that's not available. Well, I was just joking. I can do it at 4 o'clock. But we gotta put something on paper that we can stand by and stick by, and we can take that to the bank, because those will be non-negotiable the way I see it. I'm just one of the council members, but I'm trying to set the stage for you to understand. I come by your house and I specifically talk to you about that one deal. And then when you come around and you answer this question, you said just exactly what I encouraged you maybe to think about, which was that 2:30 time, because I understand that the senior citizens, that is why that building was built, right? We all agree to that.
Right.
We all agree that they get first choice, okay, right?
Yes, sir.
And if they leave at 3 and you say you need it at 2:30, after you've been asked, hey, they don't leave till 3, because I come by your house and we talk about that specifically.
Hey, Mr. Higgins, try to get the yes. It's kids and Mayflower trying to.
I totally understand that, but I can't, sir, listen to me.
Yes, sir.
You gotta listen to me just a minute, okay? Please.
Yes.
Every time that you come up here, and I say this respectfully, you said from the beginning, start talking about, hey, this is where we're from, this is what we're doing, and I believe in you. But now we're trying to work out the exacts, okay? We're trying to work out the non-negotiables, the exacts, to put everything in a square box. And I told you, because I was concerned about it, I come by and said, hey, the senior citizens don't leave till 3 o'clock. So when you're asked, then your statement is, we wanted it 2:30. Well, then all we want is a yes. We're trying to help these children. And I agree with you. However, the senior citizens come first, because that is their building. What I'm saying is, in a nutshell, is whatever you do here, you've got to work around their schedule. Period. End of story. If you can't line up to work around the senior citizen schedule, then it won't work. If you can, then that's okay. And I'm all as well. But don't come back and then say, well, but for the kids, we've got to do this, and we got to do it for the kids. I understand that, but it's already taken at that point. And that will be a non-negotiable. Does that make sense? It's just like when we're not gonna come in, the city's not gonna come in and you've got the contract, and they say, well, we're gonna knock you out of your place for an hour tonight because we want it. We can't do that, right? So we can't do that to them. So I just want you to understand clearly what I'm asking you, because this is the second time we've talked about it. And I just want you to understand it correctly and make sure that you understand that.
Yes, sir. And I want you to understand, Mr. Higgins, we've been in a storm shelter with no windows, with 30 kids, low income in Mayflower, Arkansas. We could adjust to anything. And what I'm saying with a Bridge to Success drive from Mayflower, from Little Rock, Arkansas, Solomon, Arkansas, they meet us between 2:30 and 3. I don't have to go in the building. But if we can go in the building at 2:30, we would love it. But we ain't gotta get off in there, like she said. The last year, we've been going off in the building, the storm shelter, at 4 o'clock, and I have to go get the kids at 4. With God's will, we make it happen for the kids of Mayflower. We can adjust anything. So try to get the yes women. So we just want to be impactful to the city of Mayflower, and we don't want to be no violence. If we can't get in that building 3:45, 4 o'clock, the kids, school not out before 4:04. So I come up there and sit at the, senior citizen center sometime in the past all the time. So only thing I need to do is at 3 o'clock, take the food and put it in the hot plate and I can be gone. Me and Miss Sylvia, cause Miss Sylvia still, you get on at 3:15. Yeah, and I can stay, so that's the only thing, but I can, as Bridges said, can they meet me at 3:30? But they also feed, Farmers County, Boys and Girls Club and, Common, so that's the only thing, but there won't be no kids, I don't have to set up, and that's the best thing about it, cause me and Miss Sylvia getting old, we always have to set up the boys, the storm shelter, so and then one thing we see is the tables already up, but, we want our schedule is on the thing, meet Bridges set, get the food, put it in there, we will be gone till 4 o'clock, cause we ain't got nothing set up. The kids, they gonna wanna go play right out of school. Once we come back, they gonna say grace, they gonna eat. And then the teachers, our 2 certified teachers, which we gonna hire another certified teacher. They gonna come in and teach the kids from 5 to 6. Kids start going home by 6:15. Then we'll do another little group. Let them probably play video games or play something on the thing. Our kids not bad, maybe our kids are amazing. We don't want to step on their toes.
I totally understand that, but I totally understand that. But back to my point, and then I have a feeling this is probably gonna be a point of contention. Because every time we talk about a specific time, we can get another story that goes around about the
Same
time.
story, sir.
I'm just asking you a specific time.
Same story.
Because it's gonna be, okay, then you said the same story, you're saying 2:30, right? So 2:30, is that what you put in?
We do not have to be, 3:30 be fine. At 2:30, I'm gonna show up out there. I don't have to come in. Bridges says gonna come between 2:30 and 3. I don't have to go in the building, but I'm gonna be in the vehicle. I ain't trying to scare nobody, but at 2:33, the people gonna bring the food, and I transfer the food that they give me and put it in a hot thing. But now, my thinking is, hey, these are Mayflower kids, what a love, one love. Please let me just take the food and put it in there instead of it sitting in the truck. That's one thing we was having with the school. We got this food in my truck, and we a state and federal program, and got the nice people coming. Yeah, but anything we could do for the kids, we want to do it. That's all I'm saying. I ain't gotta come up in that building till 3:45, tell you the truth. 3:45, 4 o'clock. It'll give us time to put paper and pencil on the table and be done. But I will be in the parking lot between 2:30 and 3. That's the only thing I'm just trying.
I'm just trying to clarify, Kip. So we're saying access to the building 3:30.
That what you like?
Yeah, I think that as long as there's a general understanding, which it seems like we've come to that understanding that the seniors have the building priority, and we're not going to modify their set schedule, which you're fine with. You're going to go into the building after they're out, they're fine with, and all of that would be stipulated in the contract, of course, so that everything, times in, times out would be there in black and white. So I think that was primarily the questions that we just wanted to make sure is that you understand that there's groups already there, so we have to work around them because, they're there first, and like Mr. Hickman said, that building was built for the seniors. They went out, they got the money for it, and, while it's the city's building and it's for everything, yes, we know, but it was built for them, so obviously we don't want to go in there and be like,
Absolutely.
And who knows, there might be some opportunities where you guys are able to merge, like how you do with yarn. That might even happen too, where you have this opportunity to bring the 2 generations together and learn from each other. So I mean, that's kids can teach them how to use a computer, and they can teach them how to read.
We would love for everybody.
I understand what you're saying, Jason, but at the same time, I don't want to speak for the senior citizens.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, no, we should definitely hear from them.
They're there,
Yeah.
having a function. 3 o'clock, 3:15, whatever the case may be. And I see it happening already. We're just gonna show up, do it for the kids, and I agree. But we just wanna get in here, put the food in here, and that causes disruption. Then there's gonna be a problem, and I can see that handwriting on the wall, and I don't want there to be any problems. This is not the point of all this. This is not the point to try to strong arm anybody. This is a senior citizen building. If it fits, then it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I would encourage the fire marshal that any problems that start arising, this is not just with you, this is any problems start arising.
We
have to examine that.
We are state federal license.
So we're saying the contract, I'm just trying to get the nuts and bolts here. Someone will kick this all in. 8 minutes, we're done. 3:30 access to the building, 3:37. What days of the week did you have in mind? Monday, Tuesday?
We need Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, Mondays, no school.
When is your time that you're looking to exit the building? I mean, a hard time that you are not winding down your program and that everybody is off the site.
We could be out of there at 6:59, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wednesday, that's
Everything. What, 6:45?
We've got a group 6:30 to 8 on Wednesdays, is why I was asking.
6:30 to
That's why I was saying Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, so I don't even know that y'all had nobody from 6:30. This is my first time. And we've been.
That's the recovery group.
I
That
think
eight.
it was 7 to 8, you know. So we've been trying since February, everybody, we've been reaching out to the mayor. So I didn't know nobody had no sick. I thought the recovery started at 7.
He starts at 7, but he always arrives at 6:30 to start to set up.
Okay, like we would like to start at, let's be around 7. But we could, on Wednesday, we can be out at 6:30.
Well, and that's not just speaking to you guys in particular, but speaking to everybody when we're trying to stage and rent this thing out. I'm looking for an hour overlap to allow people to leave, allow traffic to come in, so we don't have a congested parking lot. And that's always been what I try to do when we book anything, is to allow a little buffer between uses and allow somebody to go back and inspect it, make sure everything's okay. Again, I'm not talking about this group specifically. This has been kind of a general rule of thumb that we've done.
Anywhere we could have previous contract to rent out community senior citizen center. And I definitely see what you're saying. And the thing with our funding in 5 years, while we're saying, program 47, we have to give our Mayflower youth 300 hours. So we're reducing it down to 2. And we'll start doing community service, but in it, she's not no drama person, I'm not no drama person. Like I said, we've been in a storm shelter with no windows for 3 years, and I won't do anything for the seniors. And if the seniors come in, our kids will be very respectful.
Well, if I could put a 5 point on it, like Wednesday, Thursday, and not available. I mean, that's pretty much submitted. You won't be able to get out of that building in the time that is needed to come in to set up this program. So we're looking at basically Monday to.
So you say you don't have Tuesday and Wednesday?
Wednesday is when the ACE comes in. So it's possible, but you would need to be out of the facility prior to 6. I mean, completely out of it. So 6 would be like the hard deadline.
So it's the seniors, so no one's there on Monday?
Mondays, you can come in, but you don't have an evening commitment. So 3 o'clock, 3:30 would be your entry time. Wouldn't have a cap on the evening. Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday's committed Thursdays.
So right here in Mayflower, just thinking that's a mental health, one problem that we'll have is kids with transportation. On Monday, school is out. So that, so we looking at all, in school, instead of apartment, we have to pay the driver and all that, so maybe we have to tell 21st century to hold off here, because, cause we'll need these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, one of those, 2 of those days, just to support kids or Mayflower. So what I'm hearing is, there's no way we could have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 days.
So New Life Church has opted Thursday evenings. They've had pre-existing rental agreement with the city. They do Sundays and Thursdays, and you have the 82nd Wednesday night. So.
What about Friday? Am I
Friday
missing?
and Saturday, we're keeping the facility available for public rental.
That's right, we talked about that. I'm sorry. Yep, I forgot about that.
So what I'm hearing is it's gonna be hard for kids to have after-school program that don't have enrichment program in Mayflower. That's what we're hearing.
Unless we can figure out a way to do it, and include a Monday. The problem is there's.
Transportation.
Yeah, I know. That's the issue. Unfortunately, as it stands now, the building is booked when you need it.
So,
If we could, if we can.
so the alcohol starts at 7 to 8 or 6:30 to 8.
Yeah, he comes in at 6:30, sets stuff up. Sometimes they watch a movie, so they'll set that up, get food ready. Sometimes he brings in food.
So we can't have that because y'all want an hour. But how are we gonna come in at 3:30 and that's not an hour?
We're trying to accommodate
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help. We're
No,
trying to
I
accommodate.
We're
Here's
like,
here's what I'm hearing, and it kind of hurts my feelings, to be honest with you. I want you to have it. I want your program to be twice the size it is, 3 times the size it is. But what I'm hearing from you is, hey, I want to fit in, and I want you to scoot everybody around to make it fit. Here's what we've got already established, and you're either gonna have to work around that, or I don't know what else to tell you, but I don't know what else to do. And you know, the kids are our future, man. I'm thankful that you've got a burden for that, and I'm thankful that's your thing. However, I wouldn't advocate for somebody to move you out of the way, and I'm not going to advocate to move them out of the way because that is their building.
So Friday is on limits too, right?
We don't have a hard policy on that. It's something the council would have to discuss.
So can we do Tuesday and Friday?
The problem with that is we no longer have any but one day to rent that facility to cover our investments. That doesn't work out on the schedule.
But does the building get around a lot on Fridays right now?
they'll
We started renting it out a month ago.
right. It's brand new. I mean, I think everyone wants this program in Mayflower. I think everyone realizes that it is going to be beneficial not only for the kids, obviously for the kids, but also for the future of this city.
It's just been hard having nowadays here. And been living here for 20 years. It's been hard, but we get all the time. And sorry, just speaking out, we've been holding it for 3 years. It's hard having babies here as an advocate in 10 other counties. Hard.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. I mean, my degree is in social work and psychology. I spent the first part of my life before I moved into IT, working in the public sector, working with people. Yep. So I wholeheartedly believe in. I believe we need it. Mayflower Schools nationally ranks in the bottom 3%. So we can use all the help we can get, and anytime a program comes along and is taking kids and turn them into authors. That's just, you're taking a kid who might not have an opportunity to even learn, advanced reading, and you're turning them into an author. That's amazing. Not only they're reading books, but they're writing books. That's amazing. So I would really like for us as a community to find a way somewhere, even if not in this building, find a way somewhere.
Thank you, sir.
That we could get this program a roof.
Thank you, sir. So, and I want to apologize if I offended anybody, but Been here 3 years, been paying $750 to $1,100 a month for 9 hours a week to help kids learn how to read and help their behavior. That's what me and my partner been through. Getting over all the time. Hey, can we take the kids to the gym? That's $25 an hour. Everything got a price on it. And we know Boy Scouts don't have to pay nothing. My neighbor over here, they told me that. You know, so that look different. And you know, so but if y'all do Tuesday, Friday, hey, give us zero tolerance. If we mess up one time, put us out. At least give us a chance for our babies to have a chance, and we can invite senior citizens to come and help us out. We'll love that. The kids will love it. And their parents will love it.
The seniors probably love it too, because they can see what's going on inside the building and things like that. I mean, they might love it too.
Learn how to code. They can learn Spanish.
If they, I mean, it's open to them to come and participate. And I mean, that some of them might enjoy that. Some of them might not. Some of them might.
I'm with you, Mr. Snyder, that the program's great. I wish there was a better place to house it. I guess I wish the school was more accommodating for the students, because that's what federal funding as well.
And this program directly benefits the schools.
Just looking at the nuts and bolts here on this, just trying to come to an agreement that will work. So are we saying that 3:30 to 6:30, Tuesday and Wednesday won't work? I know you said to get the hour buffer, but if they were out at 6:30, East could come in, there wouldn't be much overlap, but it's not a huge group. I don't know how many days the group is.
The parties do, they go.
Oh, that's 6:30.
The only thing I would bring up is we do have, representing senior citizens and farm.
No, I didn't
Speak as well.
absolutely.
Well,
Well, before we even get there, I know we've been on schedule for about 25 minutes now, or longer. Another point of contention that was in this was the storage. The storage for the smart board, which I'm assuming is a 4x4 smart board, 5x5, I don't know what it is, but do we have, because I know the church stores in a trailer all of their things that they use that have to be taken out of the building at their time. That's not theirs. Do we have a place to store a smart board in there that will be?
I think the staff will be able to better address that question. It's my understanding they need to premium.
I just remember in defense of the senior center, I remember here a year or so ago that we went in and got rid of a bunch of things that they had stored because there was no storage room. That's my point. That we cleared out a bunch of things they had stored where the building could be used for other things. I don't think we have storage room for the smart one, and you have a plan for that.
We've been 3 years without it. We don't, they could use the, they'll be all right. They just happy that they got somewhere to go out of school, sir.
And I'm sorry, that was in the thing, that's why I was.
No, we could donate that smart board or just hold it off on weekends, but no, they'll be okay. Something they want.
I've noticed it on this. What you've written and told the city that you needed, and then tonight we're talking about it.
Read the whole thing, sir.
I did.
I like that. I'm talking about to the community.
And so
I stand by everything I wrote.
it's two different things, and what I'm trying to understand, maybe we need to ask you to go back to the drawing board again and tell us exactly what you can live with.
Because they're trying. Come on, sir, just bring me what you got and tell me what I got wrong. You know, I'm two grown men right here. Just tell me, sir. I know that I said it at 11. 2:30 to 3. If you're not here, put in there, if you all can give us an extra so many other days, you know, but we could trying to ask the library them to do our extra day help because we gotta get 300 hours, but when I emailed him, I told him what I need. So we just asked for 2 days, programming wise, 6 hours, 24 hours to teach kids in Mayflower, and then I feel like it shouldn't be that hard.
Well, and again, that's why I asked the smart board question, because this line in the email, if you don't mind me reading the email that you sent.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
This one line, it says, staff and parents will be there to clean up, considering hiring someone if we enter into a contract to get that cleaned up on that, which would be great, to make sure there's no back and forth. We don't want that. We
Yes, sir.
don't want that from the beginning. But it said it would be wonderful to have a place for the smart board, 3D printer, and a computer cabinet. But if not, we just need to keep the smart board there.
Right.
So you're saying we can do it with the smart board, so we're saying we don't need a place for the computer cabinet and, or,
Nah,
'cause I don't know if you've been over there and looked close, there really is no storage.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Only thing we just need is like, it'd be hard, but we'll do it. Yeah.
Well, and I guess I'm just trying to get nailed down of exactly what we're asking for.
Yeah, and I think this has been good, and we've modified the request. So now, if you guys will take what we've all now discussed, go back and write out the new request, being that, like Tuesday, Wednesday, the specific times, no smart board, no storage space needed, and what you sent out, what you pretty much a rough draft. Hey guys, this is what we'd like. Then we come back and say, yeah, this is what we've got. And you say, okay, that's great. And then just write us a new proposal based on what we have kind of negotiated here. And then that way it's brand new. We have it black and white, and we can go solely based on that. And then we'll use that proposal once everyone is okay with it. We'll use that proposal and we'll put those terms inside the contract.
Is there in your grant, is there something that says that you have to pay for the facility or?
So one thing we keep it all the time. Everybody want to talk about the grant. The grant is the grant that, and the grant is a sub grant. We have to pay out. Everybody feel what pay out. If you spend $10,000 a month on kids, and I don't have no problem with everybody saying the grant. The budget, because it's all going to Mayflower kids. So right now, we're gonna give it some points taken off, because we haven't spent what the federal government want us to spend on kids.
Because there's not an area to store anything to work with the kids with, like the smart boards.
Right. So
Like yard supplies.
let's say that school district. So we get something called the indirect cost. That's only 10% of what we spend out. So we haven't been able to spend out a lot. So then that's what we take and then paying the sometimes $1,100, and then me and her put the first 2 years Mississippi made $1,600. I made $9,200. So then people ask about the books. So now we automatically they say we get rich on kids. No, we advocates for kids, and it just seems like it's just been too hard. So I'm almost, we can go and do that. I'm almost want to tell 21st century gone. They not gonna take the funding away from them, because school districts keep on calling them. Calling out funding. So they not gonna take the funding away from them. They said they gonna give us grace. So if we can't find that, they just gonna give us a year to find another school district or continue trying to help the kids in a different way. But it just seemed every Boy Scouts free inside the school. Arkansas Marine at the library. The Boys and Girls Club, when they was in Mayflower, they had the gym for free and charged to low-income kids. And we doing it for free, and everybody want nobody but it. But I can let you see, but
I asked you a question.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, when time's running out, we're just leaving here in just a few minutes. I'm asking you. I asked you a question. I'd still like an answer.
When we get some, it don't pay for no facilities. We have to pay outside the indirect costs, and that's what you know, on sub grant, it's about how much you spend, and then you get 10% of what you spend. You know, like a 10,000, it'd be $1,000 they send us an indirect that you can do anything you want to do, and that's how we been paying. You know, the first year, that's how we fed the kids and you know, help the families out.
So there's nothing in the is there anything in the sub grant that says you're required to spend X amount of dollars on a facility per month?
There's no money for facility.
Okay. I think, Mr. Hickman, is that what you were asking?
Yeah, they give us the indirect cost. You know, that's how we have to, you know.
So you pay for it, but the grant is silent on that part.
I put around $12,000 upside down, and it should help the babysitter. Should be that too.
Mr. Antonio went into that discussion because we've had that discussion with the school. And that's what they wanted to know too, about, well, isn't there an indirect cost? So now we just automatically know that, I guess.
Everybody want to know about the grant. But
Because a lot of grants do. And so what's not connected is if there is something in that grant that does say, specify something, and us as a city are connected to something that's not being kosher,
I guess.
okay, you can't, I'm telling you, you get involved in the federal government, you can't spend it out there. They don't care how many kids you help, but you gotta follow that grant.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're all elected for, is not to fool with you,
Absolutely.
but to make sure everything's in between the lines. And when I ask you a question, I'd like just that specific answer.
Well, I gave it to you, best way I know how. I get that question all the time.
How many years have you been using this grant or been doing?
So we just finished up our first year up on the 21st century. We had been up on the ESSA funding, but this is the first year one of the first year out of 5 years.
And how long were you with the other one, the other organization?
We had the ESSA grant, we had the last 2 years of the ESSA funding.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Send another proposal.
Yeah, just rewrite, what we discussed here and send it to us, and we'll have any more discussion needs be, but then that would be, those would be, the terms and the requirements that we would then put into the contract.
All right, and we'll reach out to y'all having this.
Yep. Thank you.
And you, Chief, y'all, I guess that's when, talk about the funds and all that, is it right?
I think we have some other comments.
Please step up, thank you. I saw you back there, come on, we need to hear.
Okay, I'm Christy McMillian. I'm the Executive Director at Faulkner County Council on Aging, so I oversee the facility, the Bangor Senior Center. This is the first I'm hearing of this, so forgive me if I ask questions that y'all already know the answers to. I may not have to have the answers, but just something to think about. It sounds like y'all covered a whole lot. But first of all, with all the grants that I've dealt with over the last 25 years, there's always been a clause, sub-grants, subcontractors for grants, or the grant administrator. There's always been an administrative cost that you can pull off the top of the grant that they can use for things like building, rental, and things like that. So I find it hard to believe that there's a grant out there that will require somebody to not have rental money for rental use to have a facility such as this. So I'd like to know the name of the grant and we'll see the rules for the grant so that I can understand it a little bit better. But also my questions are, is how come they're not meeting at the school? If they were meeting in the summer at the school, what's the reason why they can't use the school anymore? Also, if it's a child care center, there are probably going to be certain requirements that have to be met in that facility in order for it to be ran like a child care center. And our food, we pay for the food permit, the food service permit for the health department, the kitchen, and things like that. And we've also provided the equipment to keep the food hot. I know that there's regulations on keeping that food hot, and if they're bringing that food from Little Rock over to this center, and then he's standing outside with it in a hot box until he can put it in there, into our equipment that we're paying for, then it's losing temperature and quality of food, which causes foodborne illnesses possibly, and things like that. So those are concerns that I'm hearing in using our kitchen permit in our facilities, our equipment. But also, Over the last 2 years, our utility usage has increased 40% based on, our seniors still have the building 3 days a week, the same as they've always had, but our usage has gone up 40%. Not the cost, because I know costs have increased on kilowatts per hour of electricity and gas and things, but the usage has gone up over 40%. How much more is this going to cause it to go up? Okay, and then the other thing is that our seniors have tried for over a year to book a Saturday to have a yard sale. Almost 2 years, they tried to book a Saturday to have a yard sale, and we were never no one would ever respond to us about when Pat and them can manage a garage sale, which is one of the major fundraisers that they have for our senior center. So if we can't get the building on an extra day during the week, that's chipped away at what we're limited to is to our fundraising over there at the senior center, and we're still trying to provide the same number of services, which brings about $125,000 to $150,000 in services to this community every year. Okay, so if we keep chipping away at what our seniors can do, then it's going to be hard for us to stay in this facility, and that's what the building was built for. I've read through the whole grant that happened about 30 years ago, and we still have 20 years left on the intention of that grant when that building was built with community development funds. So we're limited, very limited on how we can grow in that center into senior center when this keeps happening to us in that building. So that's my concerns, and I did listen to everything that y'all said, and I do feel like y'all have the seniors' best interest at heart and know that that's a senior center building. But if y'all would like to know the history of it and how that came about and what the needs are that are not being met for us, I can let y'all know that. The other thing that I'm hearing about is like cleaning the building. When y'all first started wanting to rent the building out to other people, that was an issue. At first, the mayor, my very first meeting with the mayor, he agreed to pay one of our staff members on the side on the weekend to come in and clean the building after it was rented out, and that has never happened. That never came into real time happening, and so now my concern is that these kids are coming in there, and our seniors are at risk in an at-risk population for health, sickness, and things like that. So then, with the kids being in there 2 or 3 days a week, that's going to cause more strain on our staff, which we had someone laid off last week through a grant that was employed over here. We don't know if we'll get that person back, but we are limited to 2 workers, 20 hours a week. Each one of them gets 20 hours a week to work in there. They cannot take on any more cleaning responsibilities. And then with all those kids being in there, that imposes more expense on toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products, and things like that. So those are the concerns that we have. We're really dealing with a lot of budget cuts, but our state Department of Human Services, the aging division, has really focused on growing these smaller senior centers. And so that's what we're trying to do, is grow the senior centers, but we feel like we're very limited on what we can do to grow here when we only have 3 days a week until 3 p.m. to do any programs. And we don't have storage over there. They have to leave the building to where it doesn't look like it's a senior center and put everything away every day. That's another strain on the workers, the 2 workers that we have left in there. So we're dealing with a lot of things just like y'all are, and just like they're trying to find a place to rent. But you also cannot flip the room in 20 minutes from a senior center to a daycare to a mental health meeting. What is it that happens on this recovery? So those are my concerns, is that the building will never get cleaned properly. And right now, our workers are sometimes coming in on their after hours or on their days off to clean. So those are the problems that we're dealing with. And I just want y'all to be aware of that when y'all take this into consideration and vote on it.
Thank you. I have a question for you.
Yes.
And I haven't discussed this with anyone, so it's purely my opinion. I'm just spitballing it. Would there be any benefit to using some of the funds that the Success Center pays to the city to rent that in order to supplement maybe hiring another cleaning person, or the 2 individuals you have doing 20 hours a week, pay them to work 30 hours a week? I don't know if it's in their schedule, if they even have the time or not, but if we were to use some of those funds to pay, because you said you lost a person because for the grant, maybe we could come behind and help pay some of that. In addition, use some of those funds also for the additional toiletries and things like that, so that you're not having to buy more paper towels, more toilet paper, things like that. I was just spitballing, like maybe we could use some of those funds to help offset some of those concerns.
Well, as far as our staff goes, we have 2 senior older workers that work in there, and they're paid under a grant program where it's kind of like a training program to help them when they retire, to help supplement their income while they're learning a different trade that they're able to do at this point in time.
Sure.
So with that grant program, they can't be employed through any other program.
Okay.
And it is limited to 20 hours a week, and that because it also affects their Social Security. If they make too much money, then they
Sure.
start losing money on Social Security.
Spend downs and all that.
Complicates things.
Yeah. Spend downs aren't fun for medicines for Social Security on that. Okay.
And as far as the time goes, I know the time is a restraint, but let me say this. In order to keep bringing money into our program under socialization, which covers our wellness points, our 7 dimensions of wellness, we have to offer programs that are evidence-based. In order to do that, you have to have a room to teach those classes in. And usually it's a room that you can close the door and sit down in a quiet learning environment, but with the other seniors and what they're doing over there, playing dominoes, cards, the other traditional things that they do and having lunch, we're having a hard time already finding when we're going to fit in those evidence-based classes between 8 and 3, those 3 days a week. So we didn't even consider calling and asking, can we use it on Wednesday or Friday to teach a class only for like 2 or 3 hours. So we're having a hard time introducing those programs into the center, and without those programs, we will not be able to collect our socialization grant money because of the rules that they're changing in our funding.
Is the one room with the 55-inch TV, is that too small for the class?
Is that the room with the TV, is that the small room on the? Okay. It is too small because we define our classes to be 12 people or more, and it's going to be hard to get 12 people in there to do any type of exercise. It's a learning environment where you can sit in chairs or at a table and then back up to exercise.
Okay.
And things like that.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if it was like 3 or 4 people or if it was a dozen. Yeah, a dozen people, for a dozen adults would be kind of hard to get in that small room.
We do our classes in 12 to 18.
Sure.
Keep them limited to 12 to 18 people.
Okay.
So if we're teaching a class in the main dining room, then if anybody else is doing anything in that room, then that's causing an interruption
Sure.
to the people that are trying to learn in that class. And then the other thing is that if people start coming in and we're doing the class and they're trying to bring food into the kitchen in the side door, I know you feel like it's a separate room and it won't be an interruption, but it is an interruption, and the people that work there feel like they have to get up, go in there and oversee it and make sure that they're doing what they need to do with the food and things like that. So those are the concerns that we have
Okay.
with that.
Great.
Anybody have any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is Raymond Arnold.
Raymond, you got something?
Barbara keeps up calling me in there, for whatever reason. But anyway, I got some employees that had been with us for over 6 months, and we have, I tried to address this, but never really got anywhere. I'm proposing to give them a raise, and we'll have that worked out for the next council meeting. And propose that raise for the 3 employees.
So these hourly employees then?
Hourly employees. And that's all I got.
Were you gonna bring a resolution for some more?
Resolution for more cellular endpoints. And possibly another motor. For Whitwell and pump station debit. I'm still waiting for that information. I don't know if I'll get it in time to get a resolution written up for that.
How many, now, obviously we're on overtime here. On the endpoints, where are we at on the year as far as what was in the capital outlay and what we bought installed, right?
I really couldn't tell you right
I
now.
don't remember how many we had in the outlay myself, but
Yeah.
500, does that sound?
500,
Did we have 500
10 points.
meters budgeted in for this year?
1,000.
1,000.
I had 1,000 budgeted for this year.
And today we bought
We're at 600.
600.
I got one of them.
I did too.
All of a sudden I got a blue lid on my water bottle.
Are you disappointed because your meter box is locked up?
No, it really doesn't matter to me one way or another.
Thank you for the keys on.
I've got keys, believe me. No, Brandon's about to come all unglued. No, but it doesn't bother me one way or another if it's locked. But I came home one day and my box was blue, and I was
So
like,
I can access the app now. And
yeah, exactly. I see it as a positive. There's more benefits to it, so yeah, no, it didn't make me mad one bit. I liked it, so
Evidently, it's a lot of it.
I'm a dork, so I like geeky stuff like that. So
Shut the water. Then you state plumbing goes along. And also in our ordinance, as far as us have shut valves on them.
Yep.
That's been, for quite some time.
that's all you got?
So,
Okay, I believe we have, a lady in the audience that, the mayor had asked her to come to the workshop meeting and address something to the council, and I did not have her on the agenda because I did not know, but of course, we didn't know the mayor wouldn't be here either, so if you would like to come up and address the council. Would you speak into the, there you go.
We have been having horrible problems with this one person's pit bulls in my neighborhood. They've been running loose over the course of the last year. And I have called many times to animal control, and I have called the police, and I have called just asking for help because he has gone after my dogs. Because, Andy, and he's in my yard all the time, and then, this year it kind of escalated. He got out and he attacked my dog in my yard twice. My neighbor had to, spray him with bear mace, and I had a leash on him, and I was like getting pulled into it, and the dog was like lunging up and biting him. And she sprayed mace at him, and then his owner boyfriend grabbed him. And the owner was like, "I'm so sorry, this will never happen again. I'll do better." And I felt bad for her because she has small children and stuff like that. And so I didn't file a report when I should have. And my dog is also sick. He's been under treatment for heartworm, and I'm supposed to keep him calm for 2 months. Well, actually for like a month, and then he had 2 separate big treatments. And this is happening during all this time. He's a rescue dog. I rescued him, and I've gotten all of his medical done so that I can find a family for him. But then 2 weeks ago, he was attacked again in my yard. I was out front in my yard, and he was just using his business. And after the fight that happened 2 months ago, she ended up getting another pit bull that was even more aggressive. And she has just let them roam the neighborhood. And I had called into the police before this event 2 weeks ago, saying that these pit bulls keep coming in my yard. I've had my yard servants say they won't get out of their car because there's 2 pit bulls in my yard, and they were hers. And
I called the police over and they came and, I don't know that they did anything. I think they went and talked to him, but I don't know that they cited her or anything. And Marie, the owner of the pit bull, I know, this makes me very anxious. I'm on anxiety medication because this has been so stressful. I've also had a stroke because of this, so there may be some other stuff going on too. But for the last year, I felt like I can't barely take my dogs out on walks because they're these aggressive animals, and I'm beginning to run around from animal control. They're not doing anything. It doesn't seem right.
And what's the address?
My address
Yes.
is 32 Paradise Circle.
32.
My address is 30 Paradise Circle right next door.
Don't we have a,
My address is 30.
Now, where do you live at?
Paradise Circle, she's right next door.
Paradise, okay, over on Paradise?
do we not have an aggressive breed ban in the city limits?
Yes, we've made reports of issues, citation, the owner's been given a court date. One of the dogs, we haven't seen them there every time we've been called. The last time the dog was there, I wrote the ticket, and we've got a court date with the homeowner. Yes, ma'am.
That was the last time.
The last time that I know about.
No.
Okay, I'm not aware of that, but I know there's been a court date issued to the homeowner over this problem to get them in front of the judge and get that taken care of. If we can't find the dogs when we get there, or they got them in the house, I can't see them.
I can tell you.
I don't doubt this depends.
Very traumatic. My name's Christine Molesky. I'm your neighbor. Christine Molesky, M-I-L-E-S-K-I.
So I guess my question is, what is your request? I mean, you told us a story and stuff, but I just want to know what you're. No, I'm asking now. So what you're in front of the council, you're in front of the council here. What is your request of the council?
My request of the council is, why aren't our codes being enforced? We do have an aggressive dog thing. The only dog that it says specifically pit bulls, no pit bulls in city limits. Why, for the last year, have I been terrorized by these animals? And nothing is being done when I have called repeatedly and asked for help.
It does sound like something is being done.
We have a court date now.
So can we let that?
It says they are not allowed in the city limits. They are still there.
Okay.
It was they were here 3 days ago. It was in my yard.
Okay.
It was in our yard too, and it's tried coming through our gate to get my little dog. My dog thought it wanted to play, and this dog is aggressively with his big head coming through the gate. I now have to put a pipe in between to make sure that, he's going to hit it first before he tries. It's not going to stop him if he's up there again. My yard is all fenced in. This dog is aggressive. It was biting her dog. It was both of them.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that part of it. I just wanted to know what your request was. So I appreciate it.
We want the dog out of the dog bone.
Okay.
I don't understand why it's allowed to attack my dog. And again, pit bull is there. She's been given 2 tickets. She's been given $1,000 fines. We are not the only people who have called in about him. And Lisa has a personal relationship with this woman. She saved Nico when he was little, and so maybe she has some feelings, but she keeps making excuses for her. And then she said, oh, well, Marie told me only one of it was the other dog that was attacking him. I'm like, no, they both were. And I have pictures.
Okay.
And I am tired of her making excuses for this pit bull.
Well, you've come to the right place tonight, young lady. Yes. You relax, you go home, and we're going to take care of this one, okay? You just relax.
I don't know.
I see you're upset.
I'm very upset.
And I understand exactly what you're saying. We all do. We'll fix it. We'll fix it.
Hey, Ma'am, thank you very much for coming before us tonight. We've got people fighting to keep animal control, we've got budget problems, we've got all this, and if we're gonna have a problem with that, then we need to look at some other options. If it's not handled, then we just need to look at other options and maybe turn it over to
We've
Fulton
got-
County or whatever.
She was
This is
traumatized, I was mad.
You ladies made a good presentation, and
Thank you.
you're done, you're adjourned.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you had to deal with this, and I'm sorry it hadn't been addressed, I apologize.
I will say, I looked up on our website for the record, Title VI, Chapter 6.16. There is a banned breed section, and the pit bull and pit bull terriers are listed in that ban.
There's no reason for that dog to be even in the city limits, reported to the animal control and to the police department. There's no reason for that, and we'll fix it
And
tonight.
if there's a ban on the dogs, why has it been over a year that this, something's not been done?
I thought our current ordinance listed vicious animals, it didn't list specific breeds.
So we,
This one has 8, but it says American Pit Terrier, a Stafford Bull Terrier, Staffordshire Terrier, Bulldog, American Bully, and then it goes on into some of the Pit Bull. Any dog of a breed commonly referred to as a pit bull or commonly recognized as identifiable as such. The only exceptions are if they're AKC show dogs, which typically those dogs are pretty well behaved and they're not in their neighbor's yards trying to eat people. So,
Her dog jumps the fence, it's only a little fence, and when she lets them out, they got a fence in the yard.
well,
So-
I believe you, and I believe everything you're saying, and I appreciate you coming to this. What we've gotta do is try to get to the bottom of it. If we're not enforcing what we're supposed to be doing, we've got some decisions to make, so we've gotta figure that out.
When's the court date?
Sorry, I'll have to look at the calendar.
17th.
Thank you for listening to us.
Like I
Thank
said,
you for
it
doing
was in our
something.
yards 3 days ago. Again, even though she's had 2 tickets, even though she's been fined, even though she should have been ticketed last year.
I know you know this is serious. There was a young teenager
Killed yesterday.
killed
Yes,
yesterday.
when I started, in Children's Protective Services in Michigan, and we had a case where a pit bull killed a newborn. And I won't go into the details of what my investigation was, but it was graphic, and it was so.
I called the police to find out because that dog's head was through my gate.
Yeah.
Do I have the right to shoot it? And she told me, yes, I did.
Mhm.
And believe me, and then Lenny was in my yard when my gate was open because we were waiting for company to come.
Yeah.
And
No, I totally understand you. If it was in
we
my
love
yard,
our fur babies. I know they love their fur baby
My point is, why has it been allowed to go on?
because it's never been
The-
told to them.
The short answer is it shouldn't be, and there should be resolution on this very soon.
yep. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We have anything else?
Go ahead.
All right.
Well,
I think Jimmy's got something, he raised his
I'll do
hand.
it fast. This 2014 Charger out here that's been sitting here, needs work, I'd like to get rid of it. I'd like y'all to consider that so I can do a resolution for the next council meeting, just to get that off our plate. It's got 133,000 plus miles on it. We have pulled the police radio out of it, put in another unit so it's not serviceable. The docking station is in the same shape. We've used scavenged parts off it, put in another unit to keep it running. I would like for y'all to consider letting me sell it. One of the other items is radars. I've done the same thing with radars. I have sent them off to see about getting them repaired. I can get the ones I have at the shop repaired for less than what it costs to buy one radar, but it's $3,800 to get those repaired that we have at the shop.
why do they need repair? So many of them need repair.
They're
Just
12,
age?
14 age, they're 12, 14 years old, they're riding around in cars, electronic circuits in cars riding around for that long period of time.
Okay.
So
So it's just normal wear and tear.
normal wear and tear, there's nothing catastrophic that's happened to those.
They've got, I assume they'd be calibrated.
And that price includes the new calibration and certification on those, so that won't be separate later.
Well, so it sure sounds like that car has outlived its usefulness.
Well, with.
Do we have additional backup cars anyway, though?
I do right now, because I've still got 2 officers down.
Could you even run that car?
I'm sorry.
Could you even run that car if you needed to?
We could drive it if we needed to.
But I mean, can an officer perform their job?
No, can't put a computer in there, can't talk on the radio in there.
Right.
Because it's been pulled, so. That's it.
Chief, is there a requirement of any kind of court order to go get that dog?
For us to seize it, we would, yes, and that's why I wanted the court date to be in front of the judge, so we can get some of this stuff done.
Can we make sure that gets done?
I've got to get it in front of the judge.
And we want the dog removed. We want him out of here.
The judge is gonna have to tell me to take somebody's property.
Thank you.
How many radars?
I've got one that's operational.
Okay. I have done it 2 weeks ago, something like that. I had a person in my jurisdiction, or whatever you call it.
Ward.
Called me, they said they were coming to see you, then they had to go out of town on a family emergency, but 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody up on one of the officers, our officers up on the bypass, wrote somebody a ticket 10 miles an hour over. He said he deserved the ticket, but he also wrote him for too fast for conditions on the ticket. I don't know who it is. I've had to find it. In my opinion, the mayor said that he's asked you to keep those guys off the bypass. If that has not happened, then that's something we'll have to take over the mayor. He told us that. Let me finish. He told us that, but I mean, if that's what we're gonna use the radars for, I think we probably ought to wait till next year to there's more money in the budget to, if it's $12,000, because I'm not for that when I keep getting these calls from my citizens dealing with this at 3 o'clock in the morning. Running a state highway, that's not what I'm for. You don't even have to respond. I just want to say what my opinion is on that. Our resources are limited right now, and that's just where I stand. Thank you, Chief.
Jimmy, do you have something? I saw your hand in the air. Do you have something?
Oh, yeah.
You forgot already, didn't you?
Transmission.
I've been waiting.
All right.
Transmission.
Yeah, I'm needing to fix one of my service trucks, and I'm needing another one. I need a brand new. Yes. I got one service truck, transmission went out on it the other day. And at the worst, it'd be $2,600 to replace it. But I ain't had it in there to have it analyzed, so we don't know if it needs a complete transmission or if it.
Torque converter.
They can do something, a lot less to it to get it back on the road. And then I was wanting y'all to think about me getting another half-ton 4-wheel drive service truck. Because I'm down two. If I get the transmission fixed on that one, I'd still be down one. So I just wanted to run that past y'all. And I'll get the information and everything on a new one and.
Just kind of what we're looking at.
How many trucks do we have? How many?
And if we want to finance it or we want to buy it outright.
How many trucks do we have?
Right now, I've got 4.
4. One broke?
And one broke.
So as a city, we effectively have 3 trucks on our roads.
Right. So that's just something for y'all to consider maybe for the meeting. And like I said, I'll have all the information for the meeting. But I'd like to go ahead and try to get this one truck fixed.
I know we can't vote on financials tonight, but on that $2,600 for the transmission, can we give a thumbs up to get that to the shop and get that going?
Well, normally, you know, the mayor would be
No, I know,
able
that's-
to approve that.
That's on us, it's a Dustin question.
I'm coming
Any
to
thumbs
y'all
up that financially? And then do a resolution on the purchase.
I have 2 or 3 already, what's for the next meeting.
So I'm just got like a bubs under $3,000. Get that process started, get that truck on the road.
Well, I sure
Resolve it.
appreciate it.
We'll resolve it at the council meeting. That's my thumbs up.
My thumbs up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Are we ready to go home?
I'm ready to go.
All right,
Man, you
buddy.
read our mind, buddy.
Wait,
Oh,
Oh, we got one more back here. You got
Oh, we got a nut?
no, we didn't ever actually come to consensus on if the chief could get rid of the 2014 Charger.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
go
that
ahead
thing
and
is,
get rid of the Charger, but hold up on the,
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
the radar.
that thing's just tossing us money sitting over there.
Okay. Okay, anything else? For the council, from the office? Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Whatever.
But
You, sir.
Two.